I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Hello, my name is Mark Kimber, publisher of the California Advocate newspaper. Welcome to Fresno's most prestigious civil rights event, the Drum Major for Justice Awards Banquet. The Drum Major for Justice Awards Banquet, initiated by Fresno's African American community newspaper, honors the memory and life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For the past 20 years, this event honors national leaders and lives whose works reflect the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. In this special broadcast, you, the viewer, will be treated to the speech of one of our banquet's past recipients, actress Angela Bassett, as well as being given information on how you can become involved with our 2012 banquet event. The Drum Major for Justice Awards Banquet gives local businesses and institutions a unique opportunity to connect with Fresno's African American community. Our past recipients have included Harry Belafonte, Maya Angelou, Cicely Tyson, Louis Gossett Jr. You know, Ebony Magazine has called this event the most prestigious civil rights event in the Central Valley. Over the years, this event has been attended by such guests as the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's Office of the State of California, past mayors of the city of Fresno, and numerous other state and local politicians and dignitaries. This speech given by Angela Bassett is a classic, and we hope you enjoy. We here at The Advocate offer this selection to honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. this year, and look forward to your participation in our 2012 event, which will be held on January 15th, 2012 in Fresno, California. The California Advocate newspaper, founded by Les and Pauline Kimber, is a weekly publication. For over 40 years, The Advocate has been the Valley's only African American media outlet. It has been a catalyst for social and political change and has informed and educated Fresno's African American community. The Advocate has won numerous local, state, and national awards, including the City of Fresno's Humanitarian Award, the Governor's Civic Award, and the National Black Newspaper Best Publication Award. The Advocate has major national, state, and local advertisers. As a second-generation publisher, I realize that by building relationships as a consumer base drives sales and loyalty for you, our advertisers. Thus, we are proud to be able to present this special broadcast on behalf of our sponsors and advertisers to honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for this year, as we look forward to our future events. Now, following Ms. Bassett's speech, you will be given information on how to advertise and to subscribe to our publication. Martin Luther King, at his February 4th, 1968 speech at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, was quoted as saying, "Say that I was a drum major for justice, say that I was a drum major for peace, say that I was a drum major for righteousness, and all other shallow things will not matter." This is the basis for our annual event. So, without further ado, we present one of our previous year's keynote speakers and award recipient, Ms. Angela Bassett, whose speech was given in Fresno, California at the Radisson Hotel. It is a classic, and we hope you enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Angela Bassett.
Thank you. I dream a world where no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its paths adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps our soul, nor avarice blights our day. A world, I dream, where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man and woman is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head, and joy, like a pearl, attends the needs of all mankind. Of such I dream, my world. Thank you, Langston Hughes, Harlem's own poet laureate, for those sublime words. And thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Kimber. What a wonderfully generous, humbling introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, for such you are, how delighted I was when I received the call inviting me to be here with you this evening to bring the keynote address for this most significant of events, honoring the legend of Dr. Martin Luther King. I applaud the Kimber family, the California Advocate newspaper, for founding this event and for creating the Drum Major for Justice Award. To the many sponsors and volunteers who year after year helped to make it a reality, who, as another American voice, Alex Haley, was fond of saying, find the good and praise it. I salute you. I'm so honored to be here this evening as part of an important tribute, not to just a man, but to a spirit and to the power of ideas. When people of my generation were in grade school, we made rather a big deal about celebrating the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Both days were legal holidays and, more importantly to us, days off. Days off from school. We spent quite a bit of time in the weeks beforehand learning about the life of good old Honest Abe, memorizing portions of the Gettysburg Address and discussing the importance of the Emancipation Proclamation. For Washington, we learned bits of truth and bits of fairy tale, never telling a lie, chopping down a cherry tree, throwing a coin across the river. These days, only a couple of decades later, those holidays have been squeezed into one generic Monday distinguished only by 50% off President's Day sales and discount travel packages. Then again, it has been over 100 years since the times of Abraham Lincoln and more than 200 years since the days of George Washington. And it seems that the further you get from the point of history, truth becomes legend. Legend becomes myth. And myth becomes revisionism. And so on and so on and so on, as the commercial says, until truth becomes meaningless and the ideas that first sparked our remembrance are lost forever. Now that's what makes this day and this celebration important. We must fight to maintain a ritual of thoughtful commemoration before the truth of Dr. King gets reduced to simply a quote about a dream or becomes a reason for mattress discounters to offer a king-size mattress sale. California king for us, to be sure. What is always so amazing when we commemorate Dr. King is that his particular point in history is still so close. Only 40 years. The terrible and perilous times that led Dr. King to live the life he lived are not part of some distant past, but still within the very vivid and living memory of a large percentage of Americans. The new nation that we became after the civil rights movement is still very much in its early infancy. And like an infant trying to stand on wobbly legs, the nation still finds it difficult to stand securely on a foundation of equal access and equal opportunity. But we continue to try, which ultimately is what makes this country unique. Like King David, who professed in Psalms 27 and 13, I would have despaired had I not believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I am a great admirer of the life and the work of Martin Luther King. But it would be a mistake to make this holiday about the individual only, solely. Dr. King was the leader and the symbol of a movement. He spoke for those of us who could not. He marched even when many of us would not. And ultimately, he took the bullet intended for the rest of us. Even still, the movement was not about one man. It was always, always about the people. From Dr. King's top strategist to the thousands of people who walked miles to work, days, weeks, months, instead of taking segregated buses, to the church women who fed the freedom marchers, to the children who stood tall in the faces of dogs and water hoses. Each person became great, serving within his or her ability to serve. Paul Loeb, author of this book, Soul of a Citizen, Living with Conviction in a Cynical Time, states that social change is the product of deliberate, incremental action whereby we join together to try to shape a better world. Sometimes our struggles fail. Other times they may bear modest fruit. And at times, they will trigger a miraculous outpouring of courage and heart. Only when we act, despite all uncertainties and doubts, do we have a chance to shape history. If any lesson is to be learned from the life and the death of Dr. King, well, that must certainly be it. The power of the individual to change the world in ways small and large. As Dr. King himself was fond of saying, we can't all be famous, but we all have within us the ability to be great. And as grandma and grandpa were fond of saying, if the kingdom of God lives within you, then wherever you go, you ought to leave a little heaven behind. Young people make a tragic mistake when they speak of the civil rights movement as a bygone era. These days, it's just common for young people to